Hello everybody, I'm Samantha Dell'Armi, and I'm going to be discussing cognitive versus conative versus affective parts of the mind. This is for Dr. Seeger's CEE 300 business class. So to begin, we're going to be focusing on the three portions of the mind. Not a lot of people know what these three portions are, and one of them is probably the lesser known portion of all of them. So just to start out, we'll list those and go a little more into depth on what each of these are and how they play a role in being yourself. So to start off, the first one, as you can see in red, is cognitive. So this deals with the thinking portion of the mind. Probably the most well-known part, considering we all have a brain and go to school. So this deals with your education, knowledge, IQ, experiences, and awareness. This is the part of the brain that can be improved upon because obviously starting from kindergarten and moving forward in your education, you can continue to grow and learn different things. So this portion of the mind never stops growing really because you're constantly learning different things. The next portion of the mind, which is highlighted in green, is the conative portion. This deals with the physical act of doing and what you will actually do in certain situations. So really your impulse or your instincts whenever you're put in a situation where you have to act quickly and you don't really have time to think about your actions. You don't have time to analyze the situation. You have to act quickly. So really the words that I've highlighted are instinct, talents, drive, impulse, and natural tendencies. So this is probably the least explored portion of the mind, which we will go more into depth further on in the PowerPoint. The last portion of the mind is the affective portion, highlighted in blue below. And this has to deal with your feelings, how you feel about different situations, your emotions, your preferences, attitudes towards different things, and your motivation. So obviously this portion of the mind is unique to each individual. Everybody has different emotions and feelings towards different situations and different things. So to go a little more into depth on the conative part of the mind, we will analyze the Kolbe A index. This is my personal Kolbe A index, and this was created by Kathy Kolbe in order to assess the unique conative strengths of each individual, because everybody has different Kolbe A scores and act differently under different situations. So my personal score is a 7.725, and each of these numbers fall into a different category. So as you can see, these different categories are fact finder, follow through, quick start, and implementer. And based off of my scores on each of these, my Kolbe strengths are to specify in the fact finder category, systematize in the follow through category, stabilize in the quick start category, and restore in the implementer category. So what exactly does all of this mean? Well, the fact finder portion of the action modes really deals with gathering and finding information. Researching is the biggest component of this because you're really wanting to nail down the facts. You want to know why this happens, know the reasons behind it, when it'll happen. Every little fact you can find falls under this category. So I scored relatively high in this category. I scored a 7, which is why I am a specify within this category, because my number falls within a 7 to the 10 range, which means that I'm an insistent fact finder. So this is one of my strengths within these 4 action modes. And same goes for follow through. Follow through has to deal with completing various tasks, arranging things, and designing things. So really assigning a task and making sure that it happens in the end. You're very organized. You ensure that things are done when they need to be. Deadlines are your best friend. Not necessarily, but you ensure that things are ready by the deadline. I also scored a 7 in this category, so I am very insistent fact finder follow through. And then the third category is quick start. So this has to do with dealing with risk and uncertainty. So when you're in a situation and something doesn't go as planned, if you are high in quick start, you do very well in these situations because you're able to think on your feet and come up with something right away. I am very low in quick start. As you can see, I scored a 2, so I'm resistant quick start. I can personally say that when something happens where things do not go according to plan, I get very stressed out. I start to freak out. I don't do very well thinking on my feet and trying to come up with a different solution to how to fix something. So I am very slow. I'm very low in quick start. The last category is implementer. This deals with your hands-on component, handling space intangibles. I am accommodative implementer in this category because I scored a 5, so that falls right in between resistant and insistent implementer. So why are these important? Well, first off, it provides information on how you function within each of these categories. You learn more about yourself and why you work the way you do. And it also offers insight on which situations and conditions you work best under. So really giving you the idea on where to put yourself so that you yourself can be most successful. Because each person is different. Each person works better under different conditions. So when you know your Kolbe A index, this gives you insight on where to put yourself so that you can be the best you can be. It also delivers advice on how to avoid situations that might put you in a situation where you can't be unsuccessful. So now, how can these be applied? Well, the biggest way that I saw it could be applied is when it comes to teamwork, in forming groups, because everybody has a unique Kolbe A to themselves. So when it comes to making teams and groups, well, you want to work with a group that has a very good balance of all of those. So this is very, very beneficial when it comes to forming teams, so that you can allow for a good variety of action modes and result in the best possible working situations. So you have 3 different ways to describe forming these teams. You have synergy, which deals with a well-balanced amount of action modes. Conflict, which deals with opposing scores, not very well formed group. And then you have inertia, where you have too much of one action mode. Another way that this can be applied is to allow for one to improve upon the 4 different action modes with the advice that Kathy Kolbe provides. So within this analysis, it develops, it shows you how you can develop better studying habits or how to avoid stressful situations, and just provides a little bit of advice for you and how you can be successful. The sources for this PowerPoint were Kathy Kolbe A Index, the website where she provides all of your scores and summaries as to what each of them means, and also provides the advice.